few moments later.
We are back. What's cracking? We're in the garage. I've just, it's a Sunday. I actually had Drift X this weekend, but I went down there with the SS Ute and I got like mad rejected. I wasn't able to drive because I didn't have a cage in my car. In most events, if you don't have a cage, you can drive, but you just can't do tandems and you can't take passengers. But at Drift X, it was apparently too big of an event, so they couldn't do it. So I'm back here in the garage. I've just put the belt on. I got the pulley down from Repco, local automotive shop. Got that on. Hopefully that fixes the squeaking, but if it's not that, it'll be one of these other ones, which is an easy fix. Got the new belt on, lined it all up. So all I got to do now is put the intake on, and then I got to put that sensor back in. So I didn't think I had to put it on, but because I need to put the sensor on, I will have to put that on. Went down and got this little barb connector to connect this intercooler hose back on. I cut it to pressure test the cooler, but we ended up, and I thought I would just get another one, but it's actually a lot harder to get than I thought. So just pop this back on here, we'll put the little connector there and it'll be all good. Pop the cooler here and then let the car run and it should flush all the air out. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, nice little Sunday, let's get into it. All right, so I just went ahead, I threw the intake on, I put this intercooler piping on, put that barb in, got some hose clamps that, cable tied that there so this doesn't rub. It did rub, like in the past it had fallen onto the belt. I cut like this much off, so way shorter. It used to come around here because there used to be a water bottle for the windscreen wipers, but I took it off and it used to just hang really low and I knew it was just going to get caught on something one day, so I cut a heap of length off that. Got it all nice. That's the intercooler, as you can see. So all I got to do now, first of all, look how many screws and bolts I have left over. I've got no idea what this is for. If you know what this is for, message me. But yeah, it's always nice finishing a job and having heaps of stuff left over. I just got to put this fuse in for the fuel pump and then I'll be able to give it a crank. And then we'll top, actually first, yeah, but first before I start it, I'll be topping up the intercooler stuff. I have no idea where this goes though. I was wrong. This is the little 20 amp for the fuel pump. Goes in there. Now there we've got power to the fuel pump. That other one was, it goes in this relay for the injectors, or for the water pump for the supercharger. That's, we rerouted. From standard they pull power off one of the injector ports and you just don't want your injectors to share power with a water pump, so we reran power to that. Alright, I decided that I should flush the intercooler because why not? Gone through all this trouble, so I may as well. Putting the hose in up there. This is where it recirculates back through, goes into the intercooler, then comes out here. So I've just popped that hose off and I'm going to be pumping the hose in the top and we'll get it flushed out and then we'll slam it with cool and then we'll get the car started. Because it's got a water pump, it doesn't just like flow, you can't just get it to like really flow through. I just filled it up as much as I could, it was trickling out, and then I just blew on it with my mouth, did the job. So now I'll get it topped up with coolant and we'll get it started. Alright, so I've got the cooler system filled up to the top, got it filled up to here, got the lid off, fuel pump fuse is in, so I'm just going to turn the ignition on, let the fuel pump prime. I'm not sure at what point the water pump kicks in for the intercooler, so maybe just when you start it. So I'm just gonna get that primed, I'll turn it over a little bit, see what happens. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing actually. Pretty nervous, but we'll see what happens, we'll kick it over, we'll give it a go, you know. All good to go. So basically, as the coolant is circulating through the little system, the air should come out the top of that and it should be all good. So we'll see what happens. It'll either blow up or it won't. It's all good. it's only half tuned, so it's got like a real bad tune. It has a bad cold start. I don't know what's going on with this. There's no bubbles coming out of the coolant, so I would have to say that the pump isn't running yet. So maybe I'm just gonna have to suss that out. Alright, so we got it started. As you can see, there's something wrong with the throttle. The actual throttle pedal isn't connecting to the engine, and it's just idling really weird. Pretty sure it's an electronic throttle, so I've got to maybe just pull that throttle body off and just see what's going on. But when I was in the car, I was pushing on the throttle, wasn't doing anything. So obviously that's an issue. It's running, but I've got to work that out. Alright, I can't figure out why it's running like that, why the throttle isn't working. This is where it plugs in, where it's the electronic throttle, and then it runs, that's not it. It runs underneath the manifold and like all the way back. I don't know where it goes after that. Maybe I had to pull it pretty tight to get it across to fit. So I don't know, maybe if I pulled it too tight, maybe it's come undone somewhere. But for today, that's gonna be it. I might just pack it up like this. I might send it to the mechanic, the guys that are tuning it. Just get them to look over the car, give them all these extra screws that I've got. And then just take it there like maybe a week before, let them feel around with it, get it all good. So that way we're not pulling it on the dyno and then having more issues. Obviously we don't want that, because dyno is extremely expensive. So I think this might be it. All right, so I actually figured out what the problem was with that throttle. So the next day, that was on a Sunday, the next day I went down to Rapidture in Lodell, where my mate Heath owns the shop. I borrowed his scan tool and I brought it back, plugged it into the car. Basically what happened was the map sensor, one of the little wires had just came out of the plug, like just a tiny bit. You couldn't even see it. So I never would have found that on my own. So luckily Heath was able to help me out with that scan tool. So literally all I did was plug that back in, and then it just completely fixed the car. It started perfectly. I was stressing pretty hard. I was unsure of what it was. And then that same day, on the Monday, the tuner actually called me, told me that they had a free booking for the car. So it wasn't actually booked in for like another month, and they told me that it could I could get it in like the next day. So I had to just put everything, you know, the car was pretty much put together, but I had to, you know, just a little button up, little things I had to put together. So I did that in a mad rush. Luckily Heath helped me out with the map sensor. I got that all fixed, and then got it off down to the dyno, and I'll show you the results. So the car ended up making 200 kilowatt, and it also made 279 Newton meters of torque, which is cool. So that's pretty decent power. I mean, it's on E85. It's, you know, it's got the upgraded fuel pump and injectors, and now it's tuned to the max. So it actually made 208 kilowatt, but then they tuned it down to 200, I guess, because they just said you don't want to be running it at its max potential. I guess it's a lot safer to do it that way. So that's the setup at the moment. I'll throw in the dyno run video. So that's it. Like, after all this trouble of putting this car back together, the segment of all the dramas that I've had with the car is finally over. The car is put back together and it's ready to go out and smash it on the track. Keep an eye out for the next video, because I'm going to be putting up really soon, and it's going to be the Reed Suri 2 days of drifting. Check it out. It's going to be awesome. I've already finished the video, so it'll be really going up really quick. So if you rated this far in the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Helps so much. Helps spread the videos and, you know, all that stuff. So if you've been liking the content, let me know about it if you want to see anything. If you ever want to come down to a track day and come for laps, hit me up on Insta, CJC Drift. Come out for some laps. I'm always happy to take people out. Come down and get around it.